Hello and welcome to another episode of Quarantine with Fulbrighters. We have Kashif Ali here with us. He has a Fulbright Masters from University of Connecticut Stamford. But the thing I'm interested in is, Kashif, how did you manage to travel 30 states in the US?
Well, you are coming right to the point and very stark.
That's the most important point.
30 states is okay. First, I will come to the first state because US was the first country I traveled out of Pakistan. And right away, I went to Chicago, Illinois. And that was around 27 hours of travel. My first international travels was for 27 hours. Just imagine. And then right away, you're going to the immigration officer and she's asking you, hey, you are from Pakistan, so what's up? I was like, okay, I'm already dead. What do you want? And she was like, go. And she didn't ask me any other question. And after that, the US system is so good of traveling. Like, you like to travel and you want to travel. That's natural for you. The buses, trains, aeroplanes, and sport and pricing, ticketing, everything is so good. And I was young, I was like 22, 23. And my classes are on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right? So there's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 days available. And I'm a student. Fulbright is so generous, they give you good money. And I was getting around $2,000 per month in my pocket. And I was like, I was 22 and having $2,000 in my pocket. It's like too much money, man. I was like, where to spend this money, this much money? And I'm 22, I don't have mindset of savings. And I was like, I have to spend this money somewhere. So the best thing you can spend on, like I have iPhone, I have MacBook, I have everything I can imagine of, and still there's a lot of money. And I was like, what to do with it? And I'm like, okay, let's travel. So every Thursday I take a bus. I go to, there's a website in the US where you can book the bus, something like booking.com, or there was some website, I don't remember the name. So I go to that website and I start searching. Whichever state has cheapest ticket, I just go to the bus, take the bus, and I never take any hotel. Hotels are expensive. What I used to do is, and buses in US are very comfortable. They have washrooms in that. They're not like Pakistani buses, but now we have buses here as well, which have washrooms. In those buses, we have washrooms. So it means like I can spend whole night in that bus. So what I used to do is I used to book a bus for 10 p.m. and then I go to a state which has 7 to 8 hours of travel. So I take bus. I just keep on going. One day I remember I started from Nebraska, and in 3 days I went to New York. It was like 40 hours of trip. And I had a project on Monday. I had to come back. There I took a plane ticket back home and I came back. So it was like I just keep on going, and when I take ticket and come back. And my professor was asking like, where were you last night? And I was like, I was in New York. And so like, how do you do all that? Because I was continuously updating my status and people were following me. So that's how I covered 30 states. Actually, there are more than 30, but 30 are those where I have stayed. But in total, I have like, I have touched 40 states somewhere.
Wow,
Like on the bus, I'm moving. I did not come out of the bus in that state, so I do not count that.
You almost visited all of the US. You clearly weren't living in New York City like me, where $2,000 also seemed like a struggle to live in, or maybe my rent was too high. But it's great that you would travel like that, because Greyhound, Flexbus, Megabus, even through New York, the Megabus even had certain deals where tickets were $1. If you got lucky, you could go to DC, or you could go even further for $1. And like you said, the seats are comfortable and you can really travel. So you also say that you were first from your family to move out of the country and maybe even move out of the city. So where did this traveling spirit come from?
I'm just telling it's in the air. In US, everyone loves to travel. It's their culture. It's a weekend, it's a long weekend, you just travel. So traveling is in their culture. If we talk about our religion, like, in our holy book, it says like, when you are in trouble, travel. They actually do it. Every weekend they travel. They have money, they use it, they travel. Traveling is the most important part. They go to Mexico, they go to Florida, they go to Europe, they travel, they see the world. And US is itself a world. Every state is different, right? Although the currency is same, it's like Europe, like every state is different. Every state has different restaurants, different taste, different lifestyle. Like I lived 1 year in Nebraska. I don't know if you remember the name of Nebraska or you have heard about Nebraska or not. 1 year in Nebraska and 2 or 3 years in New York, completely different. Nebraska is a completely different state, is like a very natural, no technology. Although Warren Buffett lives there, but no technology over there. And people, they are very natural people, very nice people. And they do not even know where Pakistan is. They don't know the name of Pakistan, imagine. And then I spent a couple of years in New York. They know everything about Pakistan. So I had lived very different lives, like it's 1 year in Nebraska and 2 years there. But people love to travel. You go to New York, you go to America, you see everyone around you traveling, going to road trips, going to airplanes, going on train. Then you automatically say, like, everyone is doing it. Why shouldn't I do it? I have money, I have everything, so let's do it. So that's why we do it.
I'm not surprised that some people over there do not know where Pakistan is. That's why these cultural exchanges are so important for us to take our culture and tell them. And for the average American, probably you can fit 6, 7 South Asian countries and all of the US. So when they think of traveling, they think of traveling in the US, which is why a lot of people don't actually travel to Europe from the US, because there's so much to see just in the US as well. You also mentioned something about a startup. Did you start a startup in the US while you were there?
Well, I did, yes, because I had a lot of Chinese classmates. They are smart. They do startups. They were selling printers online. At that time, Amazon was not something which everyone was using it. Very few people were using Amazon. I will share one very funny thing with you. I had a semester. I did not buy books. In the middle of the semester, I bought a book for $73. And after the semester, I sold the same book for $80. Like, I studied from their book, I prepared for exam, and I sold the same book for $80 for $7 profit. So it's like trade is like, there are so much good things for America. Everyone is trading. Even you are a student, you are professional, you are trading, you are buying and selling. You're selling on Amazon, you're selling on eBay, you are selling on Craigslist. And it is fun, like buying something and selling something and using that, buying a car, use that car, sell that car. That's so much fun. I used to do it. I used to sell a lot of stuff on Amazon or eBay, and I was making good money, right? I was selling electronics, I was selling books, and I was also selling, you can say, mostly I was selling books and electronics. Cell phones. I used to buy cell phones, use that phone for 1 month and sell it for profit.
So that was your startup, selling things for profit?
Yes, I was doing that for fun. Because I was there for a short time.
I see how all the money for traveling, I see where the money for traveling comes from.
Yes, traveling and food.
So what was one of the travels that you really remember, or what was one of the states that you loved visiting?
Well, I have traveled a lot, and I traveled to Orlando and I did skydive there. That's one of the best experiences I had. And after that, I traveled to Texas, Dallas. That's the best city I found. Very good people, very nice food, and very good roads, like huge roads and huge bridges. I was impressed with Texas. Very different life. Texas is completely different than Florida. I went to Key West. We did banana road and banana dive. There's a boat is shaped like banana, and then we are sent into the ocean. First time in the ocean, right? In Key West, Florida. And then I am doing scuba diving, I'm doing skydiving, and like everything I have done. In the US, I have done every kind of thing you can even imagine.
So where does this YOLO attitude come from? Were you like this in Pakistan, or did you go to the US and as part of the cultural exchange, you decided that I'm going to experience everything that I've never experienced before, and I'm going to say yes to all these experiences?
Well, believe me, in Pakistan, I never traveled. I never went out of Lahore for my whole life. The Fulbright was the first experience I used, and I traveled. And I don't know where it come from. I was just doing what I like to do. I was by myself, and it all depends on what kind of friends you make. What kind of, I had a lot of people around me in my class from India. I know she was, I had one good friend, Pooja, and I had a very good friend, Kidane from Eritrea. And I have one very good friend. She was also Fulbright from Dominican Republic. And last friend, I have Abid from Jordan. So I had a very versatile network. None of them traveled. I was the only one who was traveling, but they appreciated it. They always wanted it, but couldn't do it. And I wanted it and I did it because I am a doer. That's my personality. If I think something I need to do, and I do it. So I travel. Whenever I have extra money, I travel.
This is why we always say it's the Fulbright exchange and it's the Fulbright experience. It's not just what you study in the classroom. From what I hear, everything that you studied and experience outside of the classroom, that has stayed with you a lot more than what you might have studied in the classroom.
Correct. This is absolutely correct. Traveling, you learn a lot. You meet very different people. I meet very different kind of people in the bus, in the train. I remember once I met a, a CEO of a very big company during my trip, and he didn't tell me he's a CEO of a $1 billion company, and he was also traveling. He was like a traveler. He said, like, I want to travel like a normal person. That's my habit, and I don't tell anyone what work I do. So we traveled for like 6 hours. It was from New York to Boston, and we spent a very good time, and we shared good food when we took off the bus. And like, you meet a kind of people who are like you, and you learn their lifestyles, you learn what they have achieved, and you make very good friends during traveling as well. And again, you try different kind of food. In every city, in every state, food is different. People attitude is different, and people approach towards life is different. When you experience a lot of stuff, then you actually get to know what exactly you want in your life. That was my purpose, to see everything and see what exactly I want.
So, I mean, everybody says this, you learn from traveling, you learn from experiences. If you were to see yourself pre-Fulbright and then after Fulbright or after all these travels, what would you say are a couple of things that you picked up from your travels that have stayed with you?
My mindset, I'm very open-minded, very relaxed. I don't react to things. I have developed a very calm personality. Whenever anything happen in my life, I know how to handle it. I can control the situation. I have a lot of friends who are very depressed because of their corporate life. You know, one of their friends is getting promotion and one of them is not getting promotion. One is making more money than him. I don't care about this because I have seen this is not actually essence of life. This is what I have learned from travel. Like, this is something which is not actual life. The life is actually how you spend your time, the time with your family, and the time you spend with yourself. So this whole experience gave me a life which is very calm life. I'm very happy, very composed. My friends who are making more money than me, who are more successful than me, they are desperate, they are depressed with their corporate life, with their goals, and that's what I have learned from travel. This is the actual one thing I would say I learned from travel.
They're actually better than me. I don't make any money and I'm depressed. So at least they're making money. At least they can afford a therapist.
Yes, but you know, therapy is not going to help. You need to travel, you need to learn yourself, you need to learn the word, the essence of the word. That's actually the secret of life.
I think everybody has their own battles and their demons. If we talk about culture shock, it's a real thing. Fulbright does seminars, Fulbright really trains you and tells you what you will experience. Yet sometimes when you experience things, it does still come as a culture shock. You're saying things don't phase you now, you're a lot more open-minded after your experiences. But was there something initially that gave you a huge culture shock, and how did you overcome that?
Well, Americans, they mind their own business. That was one thing we learned. Like, but we in Pakistan, when we were here, whatever is happening anywhere on the roads, we try to participate in that. In America, when I was there, I see no one is interfering in anyone's life. Whatever you do is your personal business. That was kind of positive culture shock. Like, whatever I do, whatever I wear, whatever I talk, whatever I do, is my own business. No one, even my neighbors. One of my neighbors, she was from Serbia. And she never interrupted in my life. She didn't even know what I'm doing, what time I'm coming, what time I'm going. So that was one good shock I got. Like, you have your own life, no one is going to interfere in it. And that is one of the best freedom I got in my life. That was the freedom. In Pakistan, you actually try to do which everyone is going to approve. Okay, if I do that, he is going to say this, she is going to say this, my family is going to say this. There, you don't care. You are yourself. That was one positive shock I got.
What will
Negative
people
shock,
say?
I don't remember of.
What will people say is quite a popular phrase in Pakistan, and it's thrown around
Yes.
everywhere. But I'm
There,
still surprised to know your neighbor here keeps an eye on what time you come and what time you go.
in Pakistan, yes.
Really?
Over there, no one cares.
You need to get better neighbors, Mr. Kashif.
Yes, I definitely do.
If we do talk about the classroom, can you tell us something about your degree and your Fulbright Masters as well?
Well, education in US is much easier than education in Pakistan. I would simply say that. And again, in classrooms, they mean business. They are there, you are there. Everyone is serious in their life. Everyone is paying from their own pocket. That means a lot. I'm teaching. I'm a professor in Lahore. I'm teaching at UCP Lahore. The main difference between education in US and education in Pakistan is they are paying from their own pocket. Their parents are not paying them. They took loan and they paid from that loan and they have to repay the loan. And they are paying for their residence as well. Just imagine students sitting in the classroom who are paying from their own pocket, and students sitting in the classroom whose parents are paying, who are going to be serious. Those guys are very career oriented, very goal oriented. If you talk about people, if you backbite, if you talk about useless things, they don't even look at you. They ignore you, right? In Pakistan, I'm attached to the university. Here, you like to talk about people's personal life. You like to discuss people. Career orientation, goals, nothing is here in Pakistan. In the US, automatically you do something, you want to do something, you want to show someone because people appreciate your career, your goal, your lifestyle, your traveling plans. In Pakistan, they don't appreciate those things. That's the major difference. And I studied, I was the high achiever. I graduated with 4.0, like it's like 4 GPA, is a full GPA I got. So I was the best student, but again, very easy to study in US. You just focus on what professors is teaching you. You don't have to memorize anything. You have to just understand what exactly they are saying. That's the only thing you need. In Pakistan, the things are a little bit different. Unfortunately, the system is different from the US and much, much different.
I'm sure there are all kinds of people everywhere, but I'm quite shocked to hear that you found your master's to be this easy, because the popular notion is that master's programs in the US tend to be the most competitive, tend to be the most expansive, tend to be the best in the world. And you seem to have breezed through them.
Yeah, but because my education background is much different, because I was a high achiever in Pakistan. I'm a gold medalist from Lahore board. I was a medalist from Fast University. So I had a very good background in my master's, and I went into a mathematical degree, financial risk management, and more than half of the classmates were from China. So I had to compete them. It's not easier for everyone, but for me, it was quite an easy ride. I didn't find any challenge in that because I learned one thing. If you are in class, 3 hours in class, you have to make sure you learn and understand everything in class. I used to ask a lot of questions, many questions from professors. And that was one thing I learned. I was clear in the class and I travel whenever I'm free. I didn't find anything trouble, but I was very serious with my time. I'm in class. I am 100% focusing on what exactly professor is saying. I'm not wasting my time. I make sure I understand whatever is happening in class. Right. So that was the purpose. That was the actual key I got to success.
So you were a high achiever here. You were used to our education program and the way we're used to teaching, and then you experience a different life in the US. And now you're back and you're teaching. How much of what you experience in the US do you try to implement in your own classroom?
Well, I do, in the extent I can, but here I have to work with the attitude of the students. Again, I told you in the start, like in the US, students are very career oriented. It's not the problem of the students of Pakistan. Pakistan is the whole country, the ecosystem, the infrastructure is different than the US. In the US, the infrastructure is very different. right? That's why those people are actually working very hard, because they know if they work hard, they are going to get something out of it. In Pakistan, we have a lot of hard workers, unfortunately, but they do not get value for their money and value for their hard work. That is the main problem as well. But I am trying to inculcate whatever I have learned from my whole life in student. I motivate them to travel. I motivate them to go to the US whenever they can do. I have been to UK. I have been to Germany, France, Netherlands. But the best country for grooming I got is US, because this is a different kind of place. In the US, you learn and you experience the things which you cannot do anywhere in the world. That's my personal opinion. I cannot impose it to anyone. You may have a different opinion, but that's my personal opinion. For study and for personal exposure and grooming, US is the best place.
So what are some of these lessons that you learned, whether it was on your travels, whether it was on your Fulbright experience? If we can find out some specific mantras that you picked up while in your time in the US during the Fulbright that you now implement in your daily life.
There is one phrase, it is a funny phrase, which everyone uses in the US. Be a man. I'm sure you have heard that too when you were in the US. Like, it's like, come on, be a man. Like, it's like,
I was in a theater program. These gendered terms were looked down upon.
No, it's like when I was in my friends, whenever I'm stuck somewhere, I'm in a trouble. I'm in a problem. I was like, come on, stand up, be a man, stand up. Like, that's the thing I learned. That's the thing sticking in my mind. It's like, whenever there's a problem in my life, I have to face it. I stand up. I just come out of that problem, because I'm the only one who has to solve that problem. That's what I learned from my stay in there. That's the one thing which has changed my life. Like, come on, stand up. You are the one who is going to solve those problems. No one is coming. This is the one thing I learned. That's the one simple sentence.
You're in the education sector, you're at a university as well. And you've talked about things that we're lacking. What are some things that our education sector or our universities can learn from the US, or or universities should implement in Pakistan as well?
One thing which, if that's done, the whole education system can transform. That is the industry academia linkages. It's like when you are in a master's degree in the US, you are actually half of the time you are spending with the industry. In the Pakistan, no, it's not happening like that. You're in the classroom most of the time. So you have to connect the industrial problems with the universities. University is going to give you the solution of the problems. University research is going to give you the solution. The students are going to give you the solution. Textile industry, education industry, transportation industry, all of them have to connect themselves with the education system. Then you are going to, it's a win-win situation for both. This is the only one thing which has to be done. Government has to do it, HEC has to do it, universities has to do it, but this is the ultimate solution. Connect industry with the education system, everything would be solved.
Why do you think that's not happening here?
That's happening, but not in a very bigger scale, because a new idea, because university, overall education system is not very mature. It's kind of, you can say, naive. It's developing. I myself is a faculty and industrial linkage officer in the US, in UCP, faculty and industrial linkage officer. I mean, we are trying to connect industry with the students and faculty in the business school. This is a new thing, new term. Like, we are connecting our students with the industry. The projects are coming from the industry. Internships are coming from the industry. Every course has a project, and we are trying to bring paid projects for the students. So this is a phenomena which is actually getting hold of. This is new phenomena because, again, we are new country, relatively new country than the US. They are like 300, 400 years old. We are just 70, 75 years old. So there's a difference. We are learning, and with the pace of time, this government is some of the points they are doing good. They are actually promoting education. They are actually opening up things for discussion. Like, you can try anything up. There is no like there is nothing like which a solid system which cannot change. Now we see systems which we can change. So things are changing up. HEC is changing. Rules are changing. Everything is changing. Things are going on the right track.
You've already done a phenomenal job at tempting prospective students to apply to Fulbright. I've been on a Fulbright, and after listening to you, I want to go back because I feel like I did not visit enough states. I probably visited less than 10 states during my time there, and most of my travels were for conferences. So maybe I missed out. But for Fulbrighters who are already going there, if you had to tell something, if you're talking to an audience of Fulbrighters who are ready to go to the US, what would you say to them? Because I feel like a lot of times these students are straight out of university, they're young, they're scared, they may not, it may take them a year or two to learn all these things that you've learned, and by that time the Fulbright is over. So what would you say to some people who are ready to get on a plane of what they should do in their next couple of years in the US?
Travel. Go out of your comfort zone. This time you are getting as a Fulbright is not coming back. You are going to the corporate life, you are going to the wherever your life is going to change. This is the only time you get. Travel, meet people, make friends. Any opportunity you see of traveling in the US when you are in university, just take it. Don't hesitate. Students hesitate. Okay, there's a conference or there's an event going on. I don't want to go. No, just go. You will see. Even if you are alone, just go there. You will make friends. US system is individualistic system. If you are alone, believe me, there are a lot of people who are also alone. So you are not the only one. So they are actually looking for discussions, and start talking, start making friends. People are very open when you start talking. Break the silence, make friends. Make friends when you are traveling in a bus. If someone is sitting next to you asking, hey, how are you? Where are you going? Just break the silence. And Americans actually are, they are good at breaking the silence. There's a very good chance they will start discussion with you. But if they start discussion, prolong it. Start talking about something. You learn when you are talking. You know, learn people, talk to people, make friends, travel, and just take the opportunity. This is the time. Fulbright is the time which is never coming back. We are making good money. We have time, but that time is never coming back. Like this is, I just wish I get the Fulbright again and go back. Although I have done everything, like everything I could think of, but still I want to go back because that was such a good time because everything is taken care of. I just have to have fun. That's it. So if you are going to study, 50% of the time study, but 50% of the time do your personal grooming as well. Travel, meet people, experience things, go to meetings, go to different cities. There are events happening in many states. Join those events. Join social events. So keep 50% of your time for social life and 50% for study life. I had friends in the US. They were Fulbright as well. They never came out of their house. They were scared, introvert. They went there, came back, and now they are regretting. They are saying, I wish I could have done that. I could have done that. But you make sure you don't want to regret. So get the opportunity, and 50% of the time, do your social work, travel. Right? Give some time to yourself as well.
So what you're saying is YOLO.
YOLO. You only live once. Yes.
As good as any advice.
You only get Fulbright once.
YOFO. You only get Fulbright once.
Fulbright once.
I think YOFO should be the new motto. Fulbright, if you're listening next conference, make sure all the Fulbrighters hashtag YOFO and give credit to Kashif for that one. Thank you so much, Kashif, for sharing your wisdom with us. And thank you everyone for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.